Hello again, everybody. This is Mr. Everything, and I am coming back at you with another Wargaming and miniature video. This is part 2 of my Jagdtiger series. I'm doing 3 videos. I've already done video 1, which is basically opening the box, reviewing the parts up close. Now what we're going to do is, this is part 2, where I'm going to assemble the Jagdtiger on camera so you can see exactly how it goes together. And then come back for part 3, where I actually do the painting of this Jagdtiger. So let's go ahead and get into it. For this assembly, I am going to be using DAP's Rapid Fuse. What I'm going to do now is, I'm not even going to look at the instructions right now, because I pre-looked at them basically and determined what I needed to assemble this model. I'm basically going to be cutting all the parts out ahead of time, and what we'll do is we'll arrange them before we get to assembling them, because when I look at those, I say, I wonder what those are. Those are obviously the wheels. You know, when I look at this, what do I say to myself? Oh, that's obviously the skirt. When I look at these, what am I telling myself? Well, these are obviously the tracks. All right, so let me go ahead and get a lot of this cut off, disassembled, and then I'll be right back. Okay, I want to point out right now that I've got a lot of it cut out, but not all of it. There are some smaller pieces, like the toe hooks and the machine gun and filter and cannon parts. I've decided to leave, because what I need to do now is take my X-Acto knife and go over each part one at a time, getting rid of any burrs or mold lines or anything like that. Okay, and normally what I do is I'll either cut forward, or I will drag the blade against the plastic to get rid of any of the bumps, imperfections, anything like that. So that usually takes me a good minute or two to do all that, because I have to do every edge of every piece. Like this has got a little bit of a burr on it, and I will cut it forward like that, and then I will drag to smooth it out. Okay, so let me do that with all these parts, and then I will be right back. All right, it took me a few minutes, but we got it done. We got all these trimmed, cleaned, and ready to go. So let's go ahead and start gluing. First step is the tracks. That's A and B is left and right tracks. All right, so when looking at this, I don't know if you can see this with the glare and so forth, but we need to select the proper side, which, there you go, and then the tracks that are going to go on that side, upper and lower, and then you got a front and back piece for the tracks, right? And then you're going to have a tractor wheel, the one with the spokes that pull the tread, and then you have the trailing or guide wheel in the back. Okay, so I'm going to put the wheels on first, and we're going to try to determine which one goes on which side. There are like 2 pegs here at an angle. So this one or this one is obviously the only one that's going to fit. And when you assemble that, you want the spokes exposed to the inside where there would be no track, and then the track that goes around it should be on the smooth part where it would just lay flat on the wheel. Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm just kind of alternating back and forth, putting these together, because as they dry, then I can add additional pieces to them. If that makes sense. Can only go in one way, and you want to make sure the spokes all line up and the smooth part is on the outside, because that's where the track will lay. Let's do the same on this side. Okay, so we're not going to have 100% me assembling this on camera every minute of me assembling this. I anticipate this going on for hours. So there's going to be, maybe not hours, but there will be liberal editing. Okay, now this peg is also a C peg or a D peg. I'm not sure how you would pronounce it, a D peg. So when I'm looking at this, I'm noticing that the slot is up, and this thing has a slot in it. So when I put it on the peg, I got to make sure that slot is up. Yep, that's the one. All right, so now here's the tricky part. The tracks, right? The top track has a pretty severe slope right there. You can see it. And that slope is going to rest on the tractor wheel. Like so. But this one doesn't go on this side because there is a slot in your guide wheel, and wait, what? Okay. Yep, okay. So that slot in the track should fit in the slot in the guide wheel. Yeah, like that just did perfect. Okay, then the rest of this should just lay on the wheels through gravity. Okay, but you can see that the plastic wants to pop out. So that's where, oh wait, there's also a slot on the top of this. I didn't even notice. But there is a slot in the track, and that's exactly where it would fit. Okay, so there's more than one spot. Okay, all of that looks good. So let's go ahead and grease it up. Also, by laying it on the model, I could see where contact with the track to the bogey wheels was being made. So that I knew where to apply glue. There we go, back slapped in, top. Okay, so now I hold, and I'll be back in a moment. And this is why it's always good to have some clamps available, so that you can let it dry. Luckily, this rapid fuse only takes a few seconds to dry. 30 seconds or so. So while that's working on drying, we're going to go ahead and move on to the next one. All right, now this other side, this other track, the back slot, the middle slot, and the front are all in proper proportions, and they're laying in there nice and good. I won't need to clamp it. That's good. All right. Now what I'm worried about is getting the front and back curves in the right spot to fit with the under track, or the track that lays on the ground. Let's see what happens when I remove this. Yep, it's being held down. Perfect. I love me some rapid fuse. Okay. Yeah, this is showing that the big slope is in the front, and it should be. But there's also these little grooves. So this obviously doesn't fit on that one. It's going to fit on this one. So this one, I'm glad the tracks are like a one-way assembly. There's no like mistakes being made, no possible mistakes. Okay, that looks like it's going to lay on there pretty solidly. All right. Oh, now what I like to do is just glue the entire bottom, but I'm not going to glue the part on the front or the back. Give it a little bit of an opportunity to be adjusted. Because again, I'm going to have to glue these little pieces together. All right, that laid on there pretty good. Now I'm going to set this down like this, as if it was on the table. Perfect. Okay, now these parts, these front and back tracks are numbered, but when I cut them off, I said, I don't need no stinking numbers. Okay. So instead of being able to follow which one's supposed to be in the front and which one's in the back, I'm going to have to experiment. But I don't think there's any difference. I think they're all exactly the same. The drive sprocket, or whatever they call it. Of course, it sticks to my fingers. All right, let me get all the fronts and backs done like that, and then I'll be right back. All right, so we finished A and B, the tracks. Now we're going to jump on to C, which is the lower hull, and it looks like it is going to want us to attach A and B to the lower hull. I don't know if that light's in the way. Can you see that? Okay, great. And also the back plate. Okay. So we're going to give these tracks just a few extra minutes to dry before we move on to that. And so while we're waiting for the sides to dry, I'm going to jump to D, which is the gun. All right, and so we got these two plates here, we got the gun mantlet here, and we got the inner mantlet there, and those, and it says don't glue. Well, we glue the sides obviously together, that won't be a problem, but then these pivots, this axle is going to go inside this axle in there, right? And then this plate here is going to hold everything together. All right, so let's go ahead and glue the top and the bottom together. And this is what the gun barrel is going to slide down inside of. Now let's not... Now, what's kind of funny to me, guys, is that a model company like Italeri or any other model company will make a piece that has a breech, right? That's going to be inside of this tank that no one will ever see. To me, that's just funny. Okay, so it looks like the breech opening is to the left. So it's going to go in like so. And then this piece will glue into there. Okay. Got my tweezers out. Mainly because I can't get my fingers in the right spots. And of course, what I need is a prehensile tail. Or a third arm. That one in. That went in. Okay. So this barrel should go up and down. Now the downside is it's not going to go left and right like it historically I would assume should be able to do. But at least it can go up and down. And it looks like it's angled off to the right a little bit. Yep, it does. Maybe not. Maybe that's perfectly straight. Okay. All right, so that piece is done. So let's jump back to this and do that. This is the front, this is the back. These big thick parts, or the raised, is the front, obviously. There's a couple of spots there that should fit into these little wedges on the side. The back looks like it's going to line up pretty good. The front, I'm kind of... Okay, it looks all right. It is a nice tight fit, and I didn't trim inside these. Yep, I didn't trim. Inside these little slots. There is a little flash on the inside of there. Okay, they should be good now. put some glue. There we go. Okay, while that's drying, there is a little notch that the side plates have to fit up into in the front of this hole so that everything fits together. Alright, thinking so far everything is starting to fall into place. Got that done. Got that done. Oh wait, we don't have the back plate. Okay. This is the crazy back plate. It looks like it's going to slide down into these grooves that were created by the track sides. There we go. Wait a second. When I slide this down in there, okay, they go behind the back plate. Got it. But behind the back plates, behind the bottom plate, and in the groove. And then what we do is we slide it down in there. Okay, until it pops. Here we go. That was a pop. You didn't hear it? Okay. But it's even all around. Okay, good. So we're going to let that sit. And we're going to let this sit. And then we're going to move on to step echo. Step echo is still working with the gun. Okay. Wow. Okay, so we're going to add this piece and some more pieces that I didn't cut off. Okay. There is a slot on the top of this which has this little bracket go inside there, but I'm not going to put it in there until after I attach this piece. Yep. Yeah, let's do that. And this piece can only go on one way as well. Even though it's a circle, there's a little notch on the side to prevent you from misaligning it in any way. That's cool. Now I'm going to, how do I want to do this? Had a little circle mold imperfection on the side. Got to get rid of that before I glue it together. Okay, and then it looks like the long piece goes up, but this I would not be able to attach without tweezers. I recommend tweezers 100% for the little pieces like this. Now I've decided to put the glue on the little piece itself. And not try to fit it down inside that slot there. Okay, let's see what we got. Okay, that went in pretty easily. All right, that's good. That was actually a lot easier than I anticipated. Okay, now the barrel just slides through there, no problem. Actually, I could slide this on afterwards. The barrel is round. Okay, so it doesn't matter how it goes into this. All right, so the barrel is glued to the breech. Now we're gonna have to glue this piece on. There is a slot on, there's a little notch on the breech, and there's a notch on the mantlet. So when I slide it on, it should glue to right in that area. Okay, don't want to make it too tight, but also don't want to make it too loose. But I want to make it so the barrel moves. There we go. So by moving it up and down, it kind of pushed the mantlet away from the hull, giving it the maximum movement. Okay, good. Okay, we're going to let that sit. Nope, not like that. Will it stand on end? It will. Okay, and then we're going to let that dry for a little bit. All right, so the next step, something very simple. It's just putting the machine gun on the inside of the upper hull. If the track guards are to be used, drill out the holes where applicable. Okay. So what they're saying is, my understanding is what they're saying is, these little pegs are going to go in those little holes, but we can't because they covered them. Okay, give that a work. Luckily, on the inside, there's these little spots that let you know where you're supposed to drill. Okay, so we got the holes drilled out, and I tested the fit, and they fit nicely. So let's move on to the next step. G. Wait, that's part G, but then this is part G as well. Okay. These skirts go on much later, so we're going to put them off to the side. Okay. Well, it looks like we're putting the sides on. Looks like we're going to be putting the rack, a light, the back plate, a filter. And cut the filter off, or the light, or the rack. Okay. Be right back. Now let's get these guys attached. Okay, that just went on pretty easily. I'm not really sure why they don't just put the detail on the side of the hull. Why I have to glue an additional plate to the side. Let that dry for a momento. Okay. While we're waiting for that to dry, okay, there needs to be some pressure here, I guess. Yeah, that's fine. All right, let's go ahead and glue these hatches in place. Okay, that was a little tricky. I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but there was a light that had to go inside, but the light bracket that connects to the hull is too big to fit through that little circle. So you got to put the light on first and then put the bracket on. Wow. Okay. Done. All right, so let's start working on the back. Okay. It's this guy. Now there's a little thingamabob that goes right there. A thingamadoohickey. Done. Simple. Okay, so that's all done. That's all done. All except the treads on the side. I'm going to hold off on doing those until later. Okay, let's go to the next step. Next step, okay, is the big step, right? It's putting the gun in the front and then putting the entire thing on the hull. Okay. Okay, we're going to let that set off to the side and fully dry while I, okay, consider putting the top onto the bottom. Okay. Looks like there's a couple of slots here. It just slides down into. Perfect. And then the back just lays down. On and behind. Okay. Just trying to figure out where I'm going to put the glue, you see. Pushing it down. Okay, that lines up. That lines up. Everything's lined up, so I'm just going to let it set. All right, so now in my world, we're going to be putting these side skirts on, but also the front skirts, which are these guys, and the back skirts. Okay, back skirts and exhaust and all that stuff go together. So back skirts, exhaust, all of that goes together. Okay. Okay, so that goes on there. Okay, we got to put the side skirts on first before we put the front bumpers on. All right, now I'm going to put the bumpers on. It looks like the bumpers are a super tight fit against the hull and the skirt. So with a little bit of pressure, I'll get it in there. There we go. And we'll just let that sit a second. Wow, that actually went in. Once I did the trial run, I guess it opened it up a little bit to make it easier for me to actually put it in a second time. All right, the front bumpers are on. That's good. All right, now we already did both sides front bumpers. The next thing is the back. It's kind of showing setting it upside down just to make it easier. Okay, not those, but these. Okay. So it looks like exhaust pipes. Now I think these here are covers for the exhaust pipes. So, but that's in the next step. L1. I guess the other one is L2. L2, yeah, it shows covering the exhaust pipes and adding the jack. Okay. Are these the same? They look like it. If you guys haven't figured it out, I'm struggling with my index finger having a bandage on it. I'm right-handed. It's my right index finger. It's what I do all my work with. And this bandage gives me like no feeling, so I can't feel what I'm doing. So I'm having to use like all my other fingers. Well, that's a tight fit as well, and it's not going in. So, there we go, snap. Okay, let's make these guys look fairly uniform. There we go. Now these back plates, I'm not really sure how that works. Where are they? Where is that connecting? Okay, behind the there's a little groove. Okay, and a little thing to groove it in. Okay, perfect. I didn't realize that. There's these little grooves. Italeri, man, you're helping me. All right, took a moment to get these rear bumpers to line up properly. I had to do a little trimming, but we got them in there. All right, next step looks like exhaust covers. Okay, a little note. This one here has a couple of little ridges, bumps. This one does not. So there must be a reason for that. So I'm going to make sure I put the right one in the right spot. Okay, those are the covers, the armor plates or whatever they are. And then we have a towmobile. No, this is a jack. Okay, we got the jack. Next thing is the machine gun. Okay. Last but not least is the commander open hatch. Now I could put it with a closed hatch, but we're going to do the commander with an open hatch. And we're going to put the periscope in as well. And that's a super small piece. Okay. And the periscope goes right there. I mean, this piece is small. Let's not drop it. It's in. Okay. Wow. You could model this periscope, but you had to make me glue this periscope on. That's weird. Okay. I am going to glue the head canted a little bit to the right, just because the torso looks like it's going to be facing 45 degrees to the right. So I'm going to turn the head a little bit to the left, if I can. It looks like I can. You can't see that, but the head is maybe 45 degrees to the left. Yeah, we could do that. There, that way when he goes down inside that little hatch, his head is a little bit more to the left. Now the hatch handle goes to the outside. The inside has a imperfection in the mold. Got to trim it. All right. It's Got a little bit of a backwards tilt, but I'm okay with that because it looks like these have a little bit of a backwards tilt as well. All right, now I'm going to go back and do some detailing. There's only a couple of things I need to do. One of them is cut all these additional tracks off. And then trim them and then glue them on. Once I get all that done, I'll be right back. All right, and finally, we're going to attach the clamps for towing. There should be 2 in the front and 2 in the rear. Let's just go ahead and get those snapped in. Okay, so we got this thing fully assembled. Let's go ahead and zoom in so you can kind of see what it looks like. Okay, there we go. So let's take a look at this. We got the crew member right there. Got the machine gun in the back. Tracks on the side. We got the skirts on, bumpers. Now all I need to do is paint it, and that'll be in the 3rd video. Yeah, looking good. Looking good. Alright guys, thanks for coming out and watching me assemble this Jagdtiger. There should be some liberal editing because this actually took me 3 hours to complete. That's on video. So I'm going to try to trim this down to less than an hour. Alright, we'll see what I can do with that. Alright, I'll catch you in the next one.